Thank you. How are you? Thank you for
Good.
having me.
No, I'm so pleased. I feel like I've wanted to have you on for a little while because we follow each other on Instagram, don't we? And you're doing some really good stuff. So I'm sure that it's going to be quite a juicy conversation, some really valuable stuff in here. So
Good. I'm glad. I've wanted to come on and chat for ages as well. It's always good to come and chat to people that you've been following for a while. Put a proper face to the name.
yes, exactly. Yes, two busy mums on a mission, right?
Very busy. She says with the one there.
We might have a little helper, hey?
Yeah.
That's fine. Emma, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do and your work and what kind of mission you're on and how you help people?
Sure. So I'm Emma and I am a professional organiser and coach. What that basically means is that I go and help people declutter and organise their homes and their lives, but predominantly their homes. So whether that is helping somebody that struggles from letting go, and the clutter's got really overwhelming, all the way to the picture perfect people that want beautiful Instagram worthy kitchens, pantries and wardrobes. They're secretly my favorite because I don't get to do that in my home either. Right. Because being a mum, it doesn't happen, does it? And then the main predominant people are in the middle where life's happened. We've had kids, we're working full time, trying to do it all, and the house has got into a cluttered mess, and going and helping them sort it and become calm and welcoming again.
That sounds amazing. It's so interesting to me how that kind of link between your space and your environment, kind of how that affects your, I don't know, your presence and your mindset. And I know I try and do my best, Emma. I try and have a nice kind of decluttered space, decluttered head. It doesn't always happen, but I do know that if like the washing up is piling up, I do feel like slightly more stressed about it. Versus if you come home and it's like a super clear space, it does just put you in like a different zone, doesn't it? It's so interesting.
Absolutely. The most fascinating fact, and I take it everywhere I go, is that it's actually been proven in research that the more cluttered your home is, the higher levels of cortisol you have in your body. And obviously clutter's relative. What some might see as clutter, others won't. But, you know, to you, if it's cluttered, you will have higher levels of that stress hormone in your body. And that's why what the physical stress that you've got can then start affecting you mentally as well. And I find that so fascinating. And it's the big feedback that you get when you actually do declutter someone's home. They just say they feel lighter and calmer just by it not being there.
Yeah, that's so nice. That's so powerful, isn't it?
It is.
On that point, how do you kind of manage the balance between getting to that point? And I'm aware that for a lot of people, there's maybe this kind of pressure before you get to that point, like the pressure of having an aesthetically pleasing home, or if it has built up, like this pressure of like, oh my God, how am I going to tackle this thing? How do you deal with that kind of pressure and maybe guilt if you don't have a very tidy home and all that kind of stuff, because it's a bit of a balance, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's the overwhelm, and that's one thing. I'm not a minimalist. So myself, I have an organized home, but I also have mess sometimes. And I think there's a lot of pressure around, especially on social media, where you see all these lovely beautiful homes and it's not the reality. And some more people are starting to show that now, which is amazing. But it's starting in small areas, the areas where, like your living room and your bedroom, where you need to be calm. You don't want to wake up to cluttered spaces. It's starting to focus on what means most to you and letting go of the things that carry guilt. I think a lot of things that people struggle with are gifts, inherited items, expensive items, and that guilt does rub off on you wherever you go. And it's hard. But you've got to think in those small spaces where you want it to be calm and relaxing is only surrounding yourself with those things that you love. And that might be a lot of things, that might only be a few things. It's whatever's right for you. But yeah, it's something that I think needs working on in that space. We've got all the whole body image thing coming along, but all these home accounts are now making people feel really rubbish about their homes as well.
Yes, yeah, definitely. I guess that's kind of what I was alluding to a little bit. There's so many like beautiful aesthetic, like you say, pantries and houses and stuff, and sometimes it just feels like that's one more pressure, doesn't it? So I guess it's like you say, it's about being it's all relevant to that individual and what their space looks like. And it's interesting when you're saying about just focusing on one area, because I know sometimes in my home the whole house could be like in a bit of a state, but my bedroom's always pretty good. And I think it's because that's my little sanctuary, isn't it? So if nothing else, I've got a chilled, like tidy place to go to for bed. So that's quite interesting.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. If you are struggling, it's just to pick that one area that you want to be yours to relax in, then at least you've got one place. Yeah, it's one thing I struggled for. This is a renovation project.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, there's nowhere to go. And now I've just got a few quiet corners like this one. It's a nice quiet corner.
It's such a lovely little cozy corner. I love that. So how did you get into this world? Have you always just been naturally a very organized person, tidy person? And interestingly, on that point, do you think people are organized or not, or you are a tidy person or you're not? Or is it something that you can kind of learn and develop? Do you think that changes?
I think so. I mean, I've always inherently been really organized, not just in my home. I mean, my mum might disagree about my teenage bedroom, but certainly in all aspects of life. Like, I was always taking the mick out, like, by my friends for being a bit hyper organized.
Yeah.
And now it's great. Now I'm older. So I think it's always something that I've loved. And watching all those TV shows like Hoarders when we were younger, I was like, oh my God, that would be a perfect job. I'd love to do that. And then over the years, I really did stumble across it. I'm now part of an association of professional declutterers and organisers.
Oh, wow.
I stumbled across it one day. I was like, oh my word, this is actually a career. Like, you can do this for a living. And then it developed from there. So for like a year, I was doing courses, all the research I could, because I thought it's one thing to organise your home.
Yeah.
It's something else for someone else. And it's something I've learned is that I don't think anybody is inherently messy or untidy, because if you think about your dream perfect home, I bet there's no clutter around. So what we aspire to is tidiness and clutter-free spaces. But obviously the reality in life can get in the way of that. And also there's a lot of organizational storage that is aimed at one particular type of person, but actually we all are very different. Some are visual, some need it in cupboards, some need it in pegs, some need it in tiny little sections, some need it in broad categories.
Yeah. And actually, I saw a really interesting Instagram post you put on that. It's kind of like which area do you fall into, and kind of like imagine talk us through it. It's kind of imagine going into a hallway, wasn't it? And where do you put your things?
Let's do you, shall we?
Right.
There's two questions that you have to answer. So the first one is, imagine on the floor are just a load of wooden alphabet letters, multiple of each letter, and you've got a box on your left and a box on your right. The one on your left is just one big plastic box that says alphabet letters go here, and the other one is another box, but it's got lots of different drawers for A, B, C, etc. Which one are you going to tidy your letters into?
I feel like this is quite a clear answer for me. I'm going to gather them all up and I'm just going to chuck them all in that one big box together.
Yeah. Which is so common. I'm actually well, I would love to be the opposite, but I have kids that would, I don't have time for that. So it goes in the big box. Yeah. And that's called a macro organizer. So it's micro or macro. And that, although it's never clear cut, it gives you an indication of which one you might be. So it's a little bit of a fun thing to break the ice. And the other question is, imagine your dream hallway, not necessarily the one you've got or the solution you have to have, your perfect house, dream hallway. When you walk in, where do your keys go? Where does your coat go? Where do your shoes go? Is it on hooks, trays, and on a rack? Or have you got a nice little cupboard that it all gets hidden away in, and maybe a drawer for your keys, or a little cupboard that you put them in? What kind of thing are you looking at? Are there coats and everything on display, or are they put away?
I'm leaning more towards the display one, actually. as opposed to having everything shut away and be quite minimal. I quite like the idea of like maybe a nice little bowl. In fact, that's what I've got downstairs, a bowl, and kind of put keys and bits and bobs in, a nice little coat rack. Yeah, although I'm hesitant because actually I've got a mix of both, and I think that works quite well with me. I put the shoes away in a cupboard, and I wouldn't want a whole big, well actually it's what I have got, a whole big pile of coats hanging up, you know, and there's like 10 all on top of each other. But yeah, generally I'd say I'd lean towards that more open one, having like a nice pair of shoes out, a couple of select coats and a scarf, and then a little bowl on the side for keys and stuff. What does that mean then?
Visual, as I'm sure you could guess. And then it's visual or hidden. And basically for a visual person, which hopefully rings a little bit true, is that if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. So it doesn't exist if it's not out. And actually you're the type of people that struggle more with clutter, just because you're more likely to put it on a surface so that you know where it is, rather than put it away anywhere. So if there's a tray or a lid or a drawer, that's a barrier to you putting something in its home. Whereas if it's on a peg, a pot, a tray, you're more likely to put it in its home because it's there and you can see it. So it's all those types of things, whereas a hidden person needs a basket or a tray or a drawer and dividers in their cupboards and things. So it's fascinating.
I do have a lot of stuff that's out actually and on display, and I do like it to be tidy and organized. But like in my kitchen, for example, I've got a few jars with like pasta and oats and stuff in them, and they're out on the side as opposed to in a jar and in the cupboard. So that's quite interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, and both can be organized and both can be tidy. It's just finding the right solution for you. Like say jars you've got and trays and little things like that. Whereas that would be a hidden person's nightmare. They want clear surfaces, nothing out. So that's a real snippet into that.
I love that. Now I can start to see how you kind of work with people, and it's going to be so dependent, isn't it, on people's what they need and how they work. That's cool. And
it's fascinating.
It isn't just clutter, isn't it? I was having a little look at your website before in terms of organization. You kind of go into other areas, don't you, and organizing budgets and paperwork and all that kind of stuff. So what else do you do in terms of organization that maybe doesn't fit into the stuff category? How do you organize?
Moving home is a big one. I mean, it's never going to be stress-free because solicitors and all the other things that you have combined with moving home. But in terms of being able to pack it up, your home, and the order in which you do it, places that you need to change address for, I can help with all of that type of stuff. In fact, my family absolutely hated me when I've moved. They've done 2 moves with me now, and I get out my spreadsheet, color coordinated. It works though, and you know where everything is, because there is always that awkward bit where you have no idea what's in all the boxes and where it all is. But I can teach a system to help with that. I won't bore you with it, but there's things like budgets. There's a lot of people out there, which I didn't realize until I got into this, and this is why I added it, that don't know what their finances look like, what their income and their outgoings are, and they can't understand why they've got no money at the end of the month, or they've got no savings, or why they haven't reached that goal. And it's basically just putting a plan in place with them to be able to get there, whether that's clearing debt, saving, whatever it is. There's a lot of people that struggle with that, and it was one thing I was naive to, just as having an organizational mind, that we wouldn't be able to. Sorry,
it's okay.
Well done.
You can hear a little budgie.
I mean, she's finished her lunch.
Oh, bless.
She's hilarious. But yeah, things like that. Paperwork. Loads of people have got mounds of paperwork.
Yes, I was trying to do some of that yesterday actually, and I kind of motivated myself by like printing out some nice like covers. I've got like my nice little Tassie cover. So I'm trying to get there.
But I think that even with paperwork and stuff, there's a misconception that everyone's like, I don't maintain it because I don't have time to put it into lovely folders, and actually not everything has to be. I've got a big pending box that's in order for the things
I guess it's keeping tabs on it, isn't it? You kind of know where things are, and
Yeah, there's all sorts of that. And then finally your digital world. So people with emails, the files on their computers, and that tends to be a lot of people that are maybe self-employed. That don't have time to help deal with it.
So interesting. It kind of reaches all different kind of corners of your life, doesn't it? It's so fascinating. What about your calendar? Are you very good at kind of organizing your calendar and your time and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, I love my I have an unhealthy, I've got a very unhealthy addiction to my planners.
Oh, have you?
I've got something for everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's another area that I can help with coaching. There's a lot of people that struggle with their time and feel like they can't fit it all in. And I'm reached out to mainly for people saying, how can I find more time in my day? How can I create more time? And they're often really surprised that actually I'll be like, okay, so let's go back to your goals. What do you actually want to achieve in your day? Let's scrap the to-do list. They're like, what? No to-do list?
Yeah.
Because actually the reason why we feel like we've got so much in our day is because we've put everything on the same priority level.
Yeah.
So it's helping people choose what's actually a priority in their lives, and things like time blocking, scheduling, breaking down plans into minute steps and things. Because I think as mums, definitely we try and take on everything.
Yeah.
And we can't fit it all into your day.
Yeah.
No one can.
Yeah, I often actually sit down to write my to-do list and I think, right, I'll just do those couple of bits. Oh, and then there's that. Oh, and before I know it, I've got 10 things on my to-do list and I think, well, that's not achievable. So I really like that point of kind of just choosing the priorities. What do I absolutely need to get done today? What can I do sometime this week? What can I do sometime this month?
Yeah.
A lot, isn't it? Like
otherwise it's just completely overwhelming, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And then you sit there with a cup of tea and scroll on Instagram for half an hour because it's a bit overwhelming. Yeah,
absolutely. So it's organization is, I find, is the root to everything. I get taken the mick out of, because every time someone wants to do something, I'm like, you need a plan. Plan for everything.
Yeah,
and everything is made infinitely easier.
Yeah, I'm a bit like that. I think I've got a bit of Capricorn in my horoscope. I'm not a super expert on horoscopes and stuff, but I believe that to be the kind of, it's like that kind of organized thing. What are you? What's your horoscope? Have you got Capricorn?
Well, I'm an Aquarius. I don't know. What would be the traits for Aquarius?
I don't know. We need to speak to Stevie, Magical and Messy. When you look at those more kind of, your sun and your moon and your rising, sometimes there are other elements in there.
Yeah, I've got some Sagittarius, I think.
Yeah.
I think my moon is Sagittarius.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
But I'm the same. I don't know a lot about it.
No.
I love finding out what's going to happen.
When you said, Capricorn's very, structured and organized and all that kind of stuff, I thought, actually, there is a bit of that, because I too love a bit of organization. I love a bit of a plan. So, yeah, interesting. So, Emma, can you tell us, because we touched on the whole being a busy mum situation, and we've got we've got work, got kids and childcare and all that kind of stuff. What are some of the kind of maybe quick wins, or some of the kind of daily things that we could do that aren't a big, maybe whole house reorganization? What are the kind of quick wins that we could do that maybe people would find easy to fit into their lifestyle, or they could start thinking about if they kind of want to get into this a little bit? Are there any kind of little tidbits you might be able to help us with?
There's lots of little bits I could give you. So if you're completely overwhelmed by your clutter and you know you need to start but feel like you don't have time, start with your kitchen and your bathroom, because you can only make a finite amount of decisions in one day. And especially as mums, we're making decisions for our children as well. Going into your kitchen or your luxury cupboard of cosmetics that we never use is going to be an easier decision. There's little emotional attachment to those things. So out of date food, I bet most people can go to a cupboard and probably pull out something that's out of date. That's
really interesting. Yeah, because those spaces are quite functional, aren't they? I suppose, is that what you mean, as opposed to your bedroom, your living room, that's kind of more comfort, and maybe you've got your nice things around you. That's so interesting. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're thinking everywhere in my home needs to go, start with the functional spaces that don't have the emotional attachment. to it. If you wanted to start with, I want just one room that is absolutely clear, pick a drawer or set a timer and just start really small. You've probably seen the declutter challenge that I've been doing on my page in January. It's all about decluttering one item a day, then 2 items a day. And the idea behind that is to show that you can do it in 5 minutes and still achieve a lot in just a few weeks.
Yeah, just make an impact doing little and often. Yeah.
Yeah, I have like the bag challenge where I'm like, grab 2 bags, bin recycling, and if you want a third, if you want to challenge yourself for donation, and just see how quickly you can fill up the bags.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Sometimes I can be a bit ruthless with stuff like that. Like I had a big sort out not recently, in fact I could probably do with doing another one, but I got rid of loads of clothes basically, and then one of the things I got rid of was like a pink denim jacket, so I was like, I'm not very good with bright colors and stuff like that. I don't know why I got it, but I just never wore it, so I was like, well, I don't wear it, so I got rid of it, I donated it, whatever. And then my daughter got a little mini 3-year-old pink denim jacket for Christmas, and I was like, no, I got rid of mine, we could have been matching.
You'd have done it once and then it would never have happened again.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Yeah. But yeah,
with that like... actually, wardrobe hack here, if you're struggling to let go of your clothes, turn all your hangers around the wrong way. And then it's my favorite hack, I don't know why, but you turn them all around the wrong way, and then as you wear them, so it's like awkward to get out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And then as you wear them and wash them and put them back, you can put it back in the right way, and then pick a timeline, say 6 months, and if you still the wrong way, it means you've not worn it, and it's an easy
I would definitely have some things in there that don't get turned around.
I think we all do.
Yeah, that's so good. Yeah, but then that's like a really clear visual clue, isn't it? Like, I never use half of this stuff or whatever.
Exactly. It's just like a trick to make you really think about it. So
I love that. That's so good.
Yeah, loads of little things.
I love that. Emma, I don't want to take up too much of your time because I know you've got littles at home to
I'm amazed she's been so quiet.
She's doing great. You wouldn't know she was there. I was going to say, if we distracted with TV or snacks,
green time all the way.
Yeah, it can be a bit of a dream, can't it?
Yeah.
So have you got a little task or challenge or something that I might be able to try? A little bit of homework that you can leave me with?
A little bit of homework. Okay. Yeah. Wow, I reckon one of those hacks.
Okay.
Go do the hanger hack.
Yeah,
I think that's a great bit of homework.
Yeah. Okay, that's going to be really good. I already know there's things in there, things like posh party dresses and stuff. I'm like, I never get to wear that. But yeah,
no. Really when good. Will we?
I know. Yeah, okay, that's good because I am aware that my clothes have been building up again lately.
It's and it's a bit long term. Even as you're doing it, you might even think as you're turning them around, as you've got to look at each item to turn it back the wrong way, you might be like, no, it can go.
Yeah, they might not even go back in. They might, yeah.
Depends how ruthless you're feeling at the time. But if you know you've got to do your wardrobe, do the hanger hack. It's a good one.
Love that. Yeah, okay, I'll give that a go. So where can people find you if they want to get in touch and kind of keep track of what you're doing and pick up some tips or work with you?
Yeah, so Instagram's my place that I am. I've got a Facebook page, but basically it's a mirror image of my Instagram page. So Instagram is the place to be. I'm just at the Organised Co. I think there's a dot and a hyphen at the end, but it will come up as the Organised Co. So yeah, I'm there every day. Lots of reels and tips.
I love it. Cool. Yeah, your reels are amazing. You're so good on reels. I really need to pick that up. Fantastic. Yeah, really good. Do you enjoy doing them?
No one watches.
Do you enjoy them? Do you have fun doing the reels?
I definitely do more so now. It's when somebody that pops up from like your childhood that you see has seen it and you're like,
and you're like, oh God.
But I do, they're fun. You've got to have a bit of fun.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Thank you so much for taking the time.
No, it's been lovely chatting to you.
And keep in touch.
I will do.
I'll let you know how I get on with having a little go through my wardrobe.
Definitely let me go.
Cool. Have a brilliant rest of your week.
Bye.
Bye. Having this chat with the lovely Emma reminded myself of a video I made about a challenge I set myself where I tried to get rid of 1,000 items. I had a super good clear out of my wardrobe and my drawers, as it were. And I love her hack about turning the hangers the other way around. So I'd love to know if you give this a go, if you've tried it already, or if you're just a super on it organised queen. Do get in touch. I'd love to carry on the conversation. See you next time.